Dr. Leslie Wong, formerly president of Northern Michigan. But President Wong is hardly a stranger to the area. This is home for him. He grew up in East Oakland. Dr. Wong was selected to join us because of his understanding of the social justice mission of San Francisco State and because of his commitment to students and to the important question of whether we are teaching students to push, challenge, encourage, and respect themselves. In his first year here, he's already demonstrated his commitment to students and to partnering with the surrounding communities of the San Francisco Bay Area. So with that, I'll give the mic over to Dr. Leslie Wong.
Good morning. I thought it was pretty interesting this morning that this is the first moisture we've experienced in quite a while. And as I was walking into campus, all of the winter gear that was out, and I thought, I must be back in Michigan, except that it wasn't 0 degrees outside. The context is obviously kind of interesting, as people bundle up for what I thought was pretty good summer weather if you're a Michigander. But I'm getting used to getting back to my roots. I really want to welcome you and thank you for coming. The work that you all are doing and are interested in is really critical, not only to our communities, but to the universities and to the young people who will follow you. I think the parallel between the community-based work that you do and our passion for social justice here at San Francisco State has so many parallels and interconnections. It would take more than a week probably to sit and take inventory of all of those things. I wanted to share 3 things that I tell students all the time. And if you're a student at San Francisco State and have been near me or reading the papers, you have heard this often, so they can pause for a moment. And, they don't have to pay as good attention as the rest of you. But when I'm around students, I try to deliver a pretty consistent message. And the 3 pieces to that message that students have responded incredibly well to this year might sound interesting to you, but I think it also reflects the work that you're already committed to. I always tell students that if you're really concerned about social justice, then the most important attribute you can learn in a university setting is to own your own mind. That the whole purpose of your intellectual training, the pressure put on you, those late nights, the pressure you put on yourself, really is to put you in control of your own mind, to know how to get through the data, to plow through arguments that might be pretty effective but spurious, but you have to come to your own conclusions about the way the world works. And you have to feel pretty good about your own faith in accepting or rejecting various experiences that you have out in the community. And that's very important for a university that's committed to social justice, because in many ways there's so much political pressure and social pressure to adopt someone else's position and move forward. And I think students will serve their communities well by owning their own mind. The second prong that I tell students all the time here is that your education, once you own your own mind, is that it should help you lead a pretty meaningful life. That whatever you choose to do should move you in terms of your own aspirations, the kinds of impacts that you want to have on yourself, the kinds of new ideas you're willing to entertain. It really is quite phenomenal. And I think that's one of the other purposes of being part of a dynamic university, doing the work that all of you do in community-based work. The third part is something that I hope comes to fruition once they leave San Francisco State University with their diploma. And that is, once you own your own mind, and once you are on your path of leading a pretty meaningful life, that you really should make a meaningful difference in the communities in which you live. There's a lot of talk out there in the value system about jobs, about earning power, and all those kinds of things. And you'll notice a lot of advertisements about there's this talk about what's the value of a college degree, et cetera. I think they're all spurious and misleading arguments, and I think they're off track. What we should be asking ourselves is whether or not a university education is helping young people make a meaningful difference in their communities. Whether you're a volunteer with the PTSA, whether you're working for a community group, on behalf of them, for them, with them, in your immediate world, are you helping young people start to develop the tools to own their own mind and to live a meaningful life? And in many ways, those are the three values that I think reflect the work that all of you are engaged in community-based interaction. Because if you didn't want to make a meaningful difference in the lives of people around you, then you need to find another line of work, right? But you're all here because you're committed to that value system. So that's why I think seminars and gatherings like this are critically important, so that ideas are shared, that information flows from peer to peer and partner to partner, and particularly to the next generation of people who will make communities even more dynamic than they already are. This is a very special place because last week was our final meeting with our accreditation group, and San Francisco State passed with incredibly bright, colorful, flying colors. And I just wanted to share with you that one of the parallels with your work in the university here is the accreditors couldn't stop talking about our commitment to social justice. You know, I was prepared with more statistics about workload and salaries and credits earned and graduation rates, and you name it. I was going to slay them with an avalanche of data. And all they wanted to talk about were our social justice commitments. And that tells you that people are keeping an eye on us and on you, because the work that you're doing is critically important to the way this country, and if not the planet, moves forward. So I want to thank you for being here. I didn't want to get into a sermon about our values here and that kind of thing, but you can talk to the many students that are here. We all share a passion about making a difference, and as all of you certainly have that same commitment. So welcome. I hope you enjoy your time at San Francisco State. It sounds like there are a lot of people from out of state, other countries, etc. Enjoy the city and enjoy the campus. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Wong. He has to go for TV cameras very quickly, so we appreciate him holding out for us to start late. Thank you. So now I'd like to introduce Dr. Nina Wallerstein, who has been a visiting faculty in the Department of Health Education here at San Francisco State for the past 4 years. But her full-time appointment is at the University of New Mexico, Albuquerque. But she's been such a gift to our department. And she and I have been collaborating closely over the last several years. We launched the first CBPR Institute in 2011, and she's worked closely with us in building capacity at state in CBPR, and also through the Institute, building capacity in communities across San Francisco Bay Area and nationwide. And I think everybody probably knows Nina Wallerstein for her long-standing work in community-based participatory research. For 30 years, she's been working in developing participatory research methodologies, and she does amazing work in popular education. And Nina is the embodiment of cultural humility to me, which is a term that I think all of you will become familiar with shortly when we see the cultural humility film. Thank you.
Move us forward, and I so appreciate Dr. Wong's kind of initial appeal to us to think about our own core values, because that's the starting place of CBPR, is how we approach our own lives and the lives of others, and how we think about our own positions of power and privilege. And we occupy so many communities ourselves, whether it's in our neighborhood or in a faith community or in a work community. We have different positions of power and privilege in those, But each time we approach any community, we have to start with ourselves. What are our core values? And so I'm asking all of us, I just thought that it would be nice as a community here for a week. We are a community for a week. There's going to be interactions with case studies, there's going to be interactions with each other, there's going to be interactions. Some of you are going to go visit other communities outside these walls of San Francisco State. Some of you are just going to stay here and get to know each other. We have, but I wanted to set an intention of kind of openness, an intention of really being true to yourself. You know, we are who we are as people. We should own who we are as people. We should care about that, and how we reach out to people who come from different communities in partnership and in really kind of very respectful ways, and how we do that. So if we can set an intention together of mutual respect and mutual listening and trying to learn from all the skilled, wonderful people in this room and all the expertise that everybody brings, I think this will be a wonderful week for us and all of our interactions. We've had partnerships from other universities around. It's in your packet, and we've had partnerships from other nonprofits and the public health agencies of how we've created this as kind of a broad collaborative. So we've tried to embody CBPR as we've created this institute as well. So I truly appreciate that. I wanted just to see, you know, even though we're kind of still gathering, how many people in this room actually are from outside California? Oh my God. Where are you all from?
Texas.
Texas.
Montana.
Montana. Oregon.
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Washington.
Washington. Oh, we're from the Northwest Washington, yes.
Venezuela.
Venezuela.
New Orleans.
New Orleans. South Korea.
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. New Zealand. Well, welcome all of you. So we do have a richness here of representation. So let's kind of try and get to know each other. How many would call themselves academics or researchers in this room? Okay, how many would call yourselves community members, nonprofits, kind of from that perspective? I guess we're all community members, but still. We all live somewhere. How many would call yourselves students or are students? Okay, other categories you want to shout out?
Health Department.
Health department. How many call yourselves or from the health department or other departments of kind of public agencies? Okay. And many of you probably raised your hand twice or something because we again occupy different communities. So again, a wealth and richness, and we're going to just go immediately to our keynotes. And as Juliana did say, we started here in 2009 developing a public health, a community-based participatory research collaborative across campus. We had a couple years of funding from our Office of Research sponsored programs here, and we also had a couple years of being able to re-grant and give some small mini grants to faculty and partners from here. And this institute came out of actually, we did our first San Francisco State-supported institute 2 years ago, and then we were able to apply for and get funding from the National Institute of Minority Health and Health Disparities for this bigger effort that had a cross-collaboration from our other partners, university partners and community partners. So it's kind of, we'll see what the next steps bring. We will want to get to next steps and actually steps as part of this on Friday. So looking forward to that.